Hello, it's Ness here. Hello. Whoops, we've got to flip you around in Instagram just so you can see me. Whoop. Hello. Just putting on the singing bowl. Hello, everybody. It's Ness here. Just starting live for Nurture Natter. And we're going to talk about boundaries today. How have you all been this week? If you're with me, say hello. Just putting on my really large singing bowl here. Hello. Hello, ladies. Diane, you've joined. Someone's photography. Sorry, it's just not very clear on the text today with Facebook and Instagram. Here we go. You can't see my big singing bowl down there on the floor, but you can imagine. Hi, Diane. Hi, Kels. Good to see you back, love. Just seeing if anyone has joined me. Hello, Coralie. Hello, Ramona. A bit late starting on today. Facebook keeps changing the settings on me when I go live. So it's just like, So welcome everybody. Just bringing in some sound to open space for our video today. And I don't know if you've seen my rain stick. It's filling into that space. Waiting for some of you to join me. Those who love this, you're in Bunbury and you want one, woody. So good. I just love it. I just love it. Yes, it's out of the plastic, Ramona. I don't like taking it out of the plastic. But when I use it, I have to, obviously. Last week I didn't. I remember the first time I picked one of these up with Miranda, we were doing a sacred ancestry. She said, do the rain stick. And I'd never picked up one and I'd never used one, so I just started shaking it. Still sounds pretty good, but I thought that's how you used it. An eye blonde, hey? Miranda thought that was rather funny. Alright, and put that over there. And those that haven't seen my drum. Hi, Glenda. Good to have you on, hun. Alright, how's your week been? Share with me. How has your week been, everybody? Let's share with us today. How did your week go since I last saw you last week online? What did you get up to? Did you all think about gratitude in a different perspective? Those that weren't here last week or joined us, we talk about gratitude. And hello, Vix. How you going, sweetheart? We talked about gratitude and acceptance and bringing in that gratitude and being grateful. So it was I really enjoyed it, and like every week I enjoy these. But next week I'm not going to be on, unfortunately. It's midweek and I actually have a wedding to go to and a hen's party in Mandurah, so I'll be spending a bit of time up there with some family, and I won't be online. So Yeah, that's a bit disappointing for my followers, but great for me. Okay, so what have you all been up to this week? Have you had a good week? Vicky, have you had a good week, sweet? How's everything going with you? I bet you've all just run out to get your cuppa, right? Ramona says crazy, but all things held, looking forward for the next, looking forward to next week. Great, I love hearing that, Ramona. I'm glad things are better for you. And Vicky says they're developing. Okay, we've got to have a chat, Vic. It's been a long time. Be great to see you. If I can't see you over the next week or so, obviously in the new year. New possibilities, yes. 2024 seems to be about definitely new possibilities, and I really feel like the last 6 months have been about transformation for a lot of us. A lot of us have had a lot of growth and a lot of awakening. Corey says, tiring, but I'm working in the right direction. Good. Have you been working on that stuff we've been talking about? I hope so. Fingers crossed. Diane says, looking forward to next year. I am too. I think these last probably 12 months for me have been like dragging my feet, trying to constantly stay up and really fixing that mindset coming into September, where I was like, oh, I'm not staying this way. This way's not serving me. Glenda says you had gastro. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm glad you're better today, hun. Ramona says absolutely transformation. Yeah, a lot of us have had like that. I know that the first part of the year I had a lot of pain and a lot of distress, like a lot of stress that I was hanging on to, and I found like I was really kind of in that cocoon nurturing stage. And I, for the first time in 2 weeks, I've actually had no pain. So I think doing this work has been really, really good for me, and transformation, huge. Diane says, yes, lots of change and having to adjust in many ways. So looking forward to new ways and moving forward. I totally agree. Me too. I'm like really excited. Like, hurry up and get this year out the way. I love Christmas. I love spending time with my family. I really look forward to that time. But yeah, I just go, let's move on and let's celebrate. And of course, my birthday is in 2 weeks, so I'll be the big 5-1. Yeah, so it's full on for me. Lots of things have been happening for me as well. So, I'm really excited that things are really transforming and moving forward in that positive direction for a lot of us. Righto. All right. So share with me, everyone that's watching, what do you think boundaries are? Because I want to hear everyone's interpretation. Me's also on the 10th. Oh, another January, baby. Welcome, Capricorns. Love Capricorns. We're told that we're kind of boring, right? But I don't believe that at all. We are very dedicated, hardworking people and very loyal. So there's a misconception about us Capricorns, isn't there? That we've got a very romantic heart. We're very old-fashioned, and a lot of our love goes into our purpose. So, and we do that for the people that we love. Yes, absolutely. All right. So, share with me your perspective, everybody, what boundaries are. What are boundaries to you? Because we all have our own interpretation. Now, I'm not talking about spirit right now, because we will get to that. But I want to see what everyone's opinion is in just talking about boundaries. Like, what do you think boundaries are in your personal life, in your working life, in your relationships, in your family connections? What are boundaries? Why? And I guess the thing is, are they important to you? Let's nut out some conversation about this, because I really love getting your connection and my interpretation back on that as well. Boundaries, Ramona, My limits, yes. It took a long time to realize the line, to keep it in it for my own sake, especially family. Absolutely. And this is the interesting thing. Diane, do you want me to bring you live on video? I'm not quite sure if you accidentally did that. I'm not sure. But yes, Ramona, they are very much the limits in life, and that line in the sand. And how much of those boundaries are you going to bring up or keep down? You know, that's the big question. It was an accident, okay? I thought it might be. All right. Because I can bring you on if you want to. I'm always looking for people to come and talk. So I think you've done it again. Diane down here on Instagram has connected to the Come On Live video camera. So, you know, and it's hard. Ramona, I guess when you talk about family, when you share your sort of, you're not going into too much detail, but when you share about family, that's quite a hard one. That to me is quite a hard boundary to put in place, because we're not 100% sure, some of us, if it's going to work. And you know, it depends, because a lot of us love our family, and I don't quote, there's a lot of us that don't love connecting to their family. But I could imagine for those people that don't connect to their family, hi Teresa, in their perspective too, it's, you know, like, it could be that there's a lot of heartbreak in your family. And I don't know how to turn this off, Diane, because it keeps coming up. So, you know, this would be really quite tough with some people that have had a hard time with family. And some people probably question, you know, will it work? Will it be the right decision? Will the conflicts go away? Will the judgment go away? Will the sadness and the hurt go away? Well, that's only a personal perspective of, you know, everyone's situation is different. Good morning, Rebecca. Good to see you on, my sweet. Yay. It's been a while. And, you know, like, Beck, you've just joined us. Tell us your perspective on boundaries, you know. I'm wondering if I can just let that off, but it's not going to. So, how do we, you know, like, I guess the thing is, you know, when it comes to, it has been too long, Beck. When it comes to boundaries, it's about you and setting those things in stone. And it must be really hard with family, because I've obviously had a lot of readings with people in the past, and they've disconnected from family and had to put those boundaries in place because it's actually better for their mental health to disconnect. And I can't imagine how hard it would be getting to that point, you know. That would be really, really tough. Yeah, so Teresa, share with me what you have. And Teresa is an amazing artist. I've been at this girl about doing some workshops. Teresa, I'd love to hear what you feel, you know, boundaries are to you, and I guess, are they important to you? Because I know in myself, when it comes to boundaries, I have found it extremely tough over the, you know, the time frame of my life to put boundaries in place, because I was always taught, you know, people come first. Doesn't matter what you feel and what you want, they always come first. And that wasn't a bad thing to teach me, but in so many ways, I feel like that actually stopped me from putting in there what I wanted. You know, my perspective, my say, what I need, what I want, what's better for me, you know. And I found through a lot of my connections in relationships as well, like getting walked over, okay? So getting walked over was a big thing for me, and that was friendships. That was, you know, not in my family or anything like that, but that it was more so relationships, love types of relationships, not having any boundaries, not having any idea of how important that was. Diane says boundaries are important to protect your inner peace. Absolutely, I love that, and I love that perspective, Diana, because Diane, sorry, I keep calling you Diana. It's my apologies. So Diane, it is important to have that inner peace, because if you can put those boundaries in place, then you can actually change your perspective as well, and it's the time and the respect for yourself. Teresa says boundaries are important but hard to us empaths. Absolutely, but necessary, really necessary, as it can burn out and giving us too much, especially this time of the year. Yes, it is. And we all struggle. And I think that's why, you know, when you put it out at this time of the year, Teresa, think about it in that perspective. And I think Spirit said to me last night, because I was still sitting on it, because Teresa and I connect over a circle when we talk, and last week I couldn't work out what my topic was going to be to the day before in my meditation, and last night Spirit said, well, it's got to be about boundaries, and I'm like, nah, really? Like, why? And you know, now you say that, Teresa, it sort of gives me a really big perspective on that. Yeah, it is really important, because this time of the year we can get burnt out with work, we get burnt out with Christmas. You know, if you've got something happening at your house, you know, if you've got a Christmas do at your house, how much effort and time do you put into that? Plus you might have work and kids and all of that stuff. And when do you actually get time out to stop and think of yourself? It's really hard to get your head into it. And now that correlates as to why, Teresa, so thanks for that, is why it's probably come up now, because a lot of us are going to be coming into the silly season, like work stops, or you know, last minute Christmas shopping, or you know, wanting to see everybody before Christmas and the New Year. So it's like that mental exhaustion. Ramona says, yes, Diane, inner peace is a whole reason for implementing boundaries. It is the whole reason. And it is right. Exactly, that's right. And, you know, yeah, Teresa's like, expectations are high, especially the ones we put on ourselves. I love that you interact with me, ladies. It's so helpful because, yeah, and that's right, because we have these expectations. And, you know, like this week, I kind of had to realize somebody else's expectations in a situation with me. My expectations, and I had really high expectations of what I was expecting, and it was kind of like there was no boundaries, there was no there was nothing there, and I actually had to think about my expectations and what my boundaries were, because what didn't I want? What did I want? Did I need to have my say? Did I need to move forward with this? And part of my moving forward was to put some boundaries in. And actually, when you think about it, I actually had quite a couple of scenarios where I had to put boundaries in. And I'm starting to get really good at it now. This whole thing in my life is thinking about what I want and not having high expectations, but what are the expectations that I could lower, or what do I actually want to actually bring into alignment with all of that. You know, so boundaries are really, really important, because if you put them in, not only do they give you respect, but they can also show someone else what you will and won't put up with. So does anyone else want to share anything about their boundaries and anything that may have happened this week that, sorry, all my stuff falling over there, that they may wish to put in, that they need help with, or they've had to put into play with boundaries this week that they would like to share? Because I think, excellent advice. Thanks, Teresa. Because I think when we think about it, we have, you know, certain expectations. And I know when I came to one of them, the first one that was in my mind that I was thinking about was, what do I want here? Or am I expecting too much too soon? You know, do I allow this situation to grow and allow them to catch up, or whatever the situation was? And I needed to sort of put it out there what I did want, but also what what was I willing to drop the bar down to actually let go of those expectations of what I had? So I had to put some boundaries in place to actually have those expectations a little bit more on that level of equality more than anything. So is there anyone who has had to put boundaries in place, especially this time of the year? Or are they thinking, wow, that's actually made me think that I have Christmas at my house and I don't stop work until Saturday afternoon, and I'm go, and I haven't even organised Christmas presents, and it's Christmas Eve on Sunday, and who's all of a sudden gone into that state of realisation? Because I don't want to make you panic, but I just also want you to think about yourself here, and it's a realisation to make you sort of pause, smell the roses, and think about how you're going to look after yourself and manage those boundaries and put them in place. So I don't know whether, Diane, you can remove your request to video, because it keeps popping up. Like, I try to get rid of it and it just won't go away. It's all good. So is there anyone here that's had to implement those boundaries this week, you know, or thinking about themselves coming into this time and, wow, the expectations they have on themselves, and why they should lower those expectations or keep the expectations to a certain criteria or a certain boundary, but also why they should stop and think about how they're going to look after themselves in this situation. Put themselves first, yeah? It's not on your end anymore. Okay, well, that's good. It doesn't matter. It's going to just keep coming up. All right, so on that note, I'm going to just give you a minute. We're going to put a bit of sound on, and anyone that wants to share what has been going on for them lately. Lately, has anyone come to the realization that they got a little bit too much on their plate now? And I guess it's just bringing it to your attention. How are you going to look after yourself so you don't do burnout, you don't be mentally and physically exhausted through this process, you know? And I know through my life, putting up boundaries has been really tough. It's one of the hardest things that I've had to do with myself. Teresa says, I'm having a self-care day today before working for the next 3 days. I started with a long bath with salts and fragrance, beautiful, and watching videos now. Highly recommend self-care routine. Absolutely, and that is really important. And Teresa, you're thinking ahead of, like, yes, I must have a day like that. I must have a day which, you know, and that is really important, because there is a thing in life that people have these expectations of themselves that they're going to be like this, right? And I always say to people, and I got taught this when I did my empowerment training from Shani Faye Chambers, amazing coach, by the way. You know, she was talking about the highs and lows in life. And people sort of have this expectation that life is going to be like this, right? So when we think about it, if that was your heartbeat, what would you be? Yeah, your heart would have stopped. You would have been dead. You're flatline, right? But what we need to do in life is have the highs and the lows. But when we are coming down at that low point, is to be prepared that, yes, like Teresa, you have your self-care routine. And that's putting that boundary of the moment you feel like you are coming down in low vibration, is having that, letting go of that expectation of keeping going. Stop and just do some self-care, even if it's for 5 minutes. Going outside and, you know, let it go. You're nurturing the self. All right, let's have a look at what others have written here on Instagram. Christmas creates triggers, and certain people boundaries are my savior and works for me. I love that. And that's part of that self-care too, Diane, because if you've got someone to bounce off them, but pre-warn them. Okay, that's your boundary, is not to dive in there and that just go, hey honey, can I call you in 5 because I'm having a bit of a trigger today. You know, have your friends to bounce off, and those people can be there for you. And yeah, that's really important to have those saviors, those people that are there for you, and nurturing you through that, because you can reciprocate that. Cal says, living at mum and dad's at the moment. It's time to move on, but I have nowhere to go. So grateful to the house sitting in the next few weeks. I love that, Kels, you know, and that is probably too, is you're putting a boundary and a goal there to go, okay, you know, living at mum and dad's is good. It's giving me the gratitude that I have, but also I need to find my own place. But I'm grateful that I can have that space to be able to, you know, step out of that family zone and go back to it. So that's really important. Oh, you've had to leave, Diane. All right, love. Take care of yourself, sweetheart. Kel says in NY. Don't know what that means. New York. When my little man goes to school, I can get a job and then own my own house, and manifesting it. I love that, Kels. That's really, really good. And it is important to have a boundary and a goal to achieve those expectations, or, you know, once where you can have the expectations but the gratitude for, and manifesting. And I think too, Kels, this year, right now, coming into the new year, is the time where you want to set those intentions and make them happen. Have that time for you and really be strong on that, because, you know, if we have those goals and those intentions for 2024, allow them to grow, but see them in that future perspective. I'm really excited for you. What are my self-care tips? Oh, very good, Teresa. The new year's coming. Fantastic. All right, so Teresa, I was going to get to that. My self-care nurturing tips. All right. So when it comes to boundaries in that particular way, and we'll go into other things, is the highs and lows in life. Okay, when I was saying if we get to a point where we, I don't know who's joined me in Facebook now still, because I seem to have a few here in Instagram, but no one's commenting on Facebook for me. All right, so Teresa says, use the law of attraction, act as if you were here. Yes, they're here and they're in it. They're seeing it, believing it, and feeling it. So when it comes to boundaries, see, I'm ADHD, and I didn't realize this, but if you have ADHD, we are most commonly, or find it most hard to stop and not go into mental exhaustion. So Spirit has actually slowed me down quite a lot in the last few months, like slow business down, which I'm not happy about, but I look in the other perspective, okay? It's giving me time to do things like this, to talk to you, and it's also giving me time to do the self-care, okay? So when it comes to boundaries, like, I disassociate myself from the situation. I only just started realizing that I did that through doing my counseling. And being ADHD, I think that's a common neurodiverse kind of thing that we do. And if you're ADHD and neurodiverse, put your hand up, because you can probably relate to me here. So those Facebookers, are you still with me? I hope so. So we can have the tendency to not stop, okay? And we don't recognize burnout. And Spirit, has really pushed, the universe has really pushed for this line in the sand, and they're putting a boundary in place for me, okay? So, and that's, I think, part of too, while I'm really excited to share with you that I'm pain-free, which is really, really cool, okay? So my thing is to disassociate myself from the situation and have a look. And I need to regulate those feelings and actually have a look at the situation and see whether or not I'm doing too much, or whether or not I need to put that boundary in place. And funnily enough, I was going, Spirit's not talking to me, but yes, Spirit is talking to me. You're still here, Ramona. Cool. Spirit is still guiding me. The universe is still with me because they'll show me little signs and snippets along the way. I am really, really happy about that. And I think we talked about that last week when I saw you, Teresa. But so I have to dissociate myself from the situation and have a look. This is where my third eye, I believe, comes into play, because I really can have a look and go, And if I actually disassociate and I talk out loud, or I actually have a counselling session with my counsellor, right? I can actually sit there and talk and then disassociate and disattach, like, from the situation and go, ooh, I lost myself for a moment there. I haven't put a boundary in place, or I've got too much expectation around it. Hello, Joy. And I put too much expectation and no boundary in place. And, you know, it's funny. And that makes me realize that I got to step back, check out what's going on and how I'm going to help myself get better in this situation, right? So, and that's where it comes to the boundaries. I've got to think about, you know, what have I said? What have I done? How am I going? And it's not overthinking, because I used to overthink, but I've detached from that. I think the older I've got, I've learned to not stew on that. The brain just doesn't shut off, though, in that perspective. But, you know, I have a look and I think about my feelings towards the situation, how I feel, observe that feeling and what I've done, and not be tough on myself, because we're all human, and I'll recognize that. And I'll go, oh, that was a bit of a mistake. And then I have to learn how to nurture the self, which is really important, which those nurturing tips that I put in place are things like walking, putting on my music. Like, I love 80s, 90s rock. Like, my rock list, it just gets me going. And I put it on, I get out there and go for a walk and help my mindset. I ground myself, and I make sure that I talk to Spirit, and I've started rejournaling again. Like, I used to journal years ago, but I stopped doing that because a very good friend of mine went to India and brought me back a journal. So I've had to start journaling about the self and what I'm feeling and my emotions. So those things to me are really important. And another thing that you can actually do is, when you have that shower, is when that negativity can consume you, because you know, you get mentally exhausted around this time of the year, obviously, and you're still here to correlate. Awesome, and you're working, good stuff. So, hey Glenda, so music is your meditation, and meditation, yes. And this is the thing, is I need to keep my mindset high. I don't push myself. Sometimes I have to, because I'm like you. I might decide to have a day where I just want to wallow. And that's normal, because you can observe the feelings, but don't stay in that wallowing for too long, right? And that's why I go into that highs and lows in life, because if you're prepared when you're coming down, and you know, and some people need to write down on paper or in their phone what their self-nurturing tips are, because at that moment you're starting to feel yourself coming down in that low vibration, and you're starting to feel like, whoa, I'm getting a bit tired here and a bit mentally exhausted, is have that go-to list. And the reason why I say that is because if you go into low vibration and you're not aware, or you start to feel low and you're not aware, or vibrations change and that boundaries change, where you let someone walk all over that boundary, you can be really tough on yourself. But be aware that that could be pulling you down subconsciously. Sometimes it's safe to go in that, because what you know, and you think you're going to feel better. But after that, you've got to pull yourself out. So on the way down, and if you don't understand what I mean, just let me know. But on the way down, it's being prepared for that time frame that you could be low, and that's nurturing the self. So whatever it is that makes you feel good, like if you need to meditate, if you need to spend a day watching Netflix, if you need to go for a walk, or you need to ground yourself, or you need to have a bath, or you need to have going to do Reiki or a healing or a massage. If you're needing that, have that list. Or if you need your go-to friend, your savior, like Diane said when she was on, your savior to help you through that, is having those things listed for you. And I say internal is really important. These are the things that you do by yourself that you know you can do by yourself, like go for a walk by yourself, or go to the beach by yourself, or go to the movies by yourself, or watch a movie on TV by yourself, right? Then you have the external things, which are all of those external things of catching up with people and involving people, or involving the dog or the cat. You know, whether it's taking the dog for a walk, or like me, you take your cat for a walk, those sorts of things. That's external. But it's being mindful of those important things that you can bring into your day to have there, that you can reach out and grab onto and go, I've got to do that, I'm coming into low vibration. And after a while you may think, oh, that's easy to say. But you know when you're feeling a little bit off, right? I know now, I've trained myself, and it does take a little bit of practice, but if you can come down to that point of being aware that you're coming into that low vibration, it's taking care of yourself through that process so you don't stay there. All right? And that does deflect when you have a boundary that has been pushed down and someone has taken advantage of that, or, you know, pushed that boundary down below that line. You know, you've got to get strong again to be able to implement that and put that in place again. Teresa said, yes, lists are you go to, especially for us Capricorns. Of course, Teresa, you're an amazing Capricorn too. Singing lifts your vibration too, Teresa. Awesome. I love it. And that's the interesting thing, is a lot of us need reminding. What are your boundaries? Is there a situation at the moment that is not working for you? And do you actually need to stop and put that boundary in place, right? Big question mark. Do you? Possibly that you do. And you haven't had it time because life's been so busy. Please do not put this on the back burner. Okay? Put your hand out if you've been on that journey and you've not listened to your higher self or your conscious brain to say stop and slow down and review this, but you've kept going and you have reached burnout. Me. I've done it. Being ADHD, that's a common trait. That's a really, really common trait for us to burn out because we don't recognize it. We don't know how to regulate those feelings. We've got to be taught that, right? Yeah. You're putting your hand up. Cool. And that thing is you've got to honor yourself. Okay? Honor yourself. And when I say too, we're talking about spirit today, right? Think about those sorts of things when you're putting boundaries in place when you're working with spirit. Because people will say to me, spirit's supposed to be on your side. Well, yeah, they are. But we still have to put boundaries in place with spirit. And I mean physical. Sorry, my daughter just called me then. Are you with me? My daughter just decided to call me then, so hopefully I'll be able to ring her back later. All right. So, when we think about physical boundaries, right? I'm talking about working with spirit and making sure your boundaries are in place, right? That could be some kind of emotional boundary, but boundaries are really important. Put your hand up if you work with spirit, or give me a heart if you're working with spirit. You know, I love to let me know that you work with spirit. Doesn't mean you physically work with spirit like I do, but you work with spirit and you implement spirit and the universe in your life daily, right? Okay, so think about that. Think about that for a moment. If you work in that realm spiritually, you don't have to do what I do, but you do work. Good, I can see the hearts coming through. But you do work on that level. Okay? Now, Some people say to me, hey nurse, I'm getting woken up every night at 2:22. Yeah, Teresa's up there, 2:22 in the morning. Ramona says, and Glenda says, yes, definitely. You have pacing issues, so boundaries are helping me not bust. Good. My daughter keeps ringing. Hang on a second, ladies and ladies. There we go. She might stop calling me now. Alright, so, sorry. Pause. Oh, sorry everyone. My Insta. Let me know if you're still there. Sorry about that. My daughter keeps calling me. She's coming down today. She keeps ringing. Singing lifts your vibration, lifts mine too. Absolutely, Teresa. So, Glenda says she tries. Okay, so, if you believe in spirit, right, and you're getting, like, some people have certain times of the night where they get woken up. So I'm going off on tangents here, and I've got to keep it in line. Right, 2:22 in the morning. And, you know, I get a lot of people say this to me. I'm getting woken up every night, 2:22 or 3:33 or 4:44, right? Or 1:11 in the morning, every day. And I'm like, do you like that? Oh, well, you know, if it's spirit working with me, yeah, it's great. Think about it for a moment. Think about it. Okay? My daughter keeps ringing me. Think about it for a moment. When we keep getting woken up, is the thing that happens is we are getting woken up the same time, all the time. Spirit's having a lot of fun with this because they want you to remember what you've just dreamed or a situation that you've just felt and heard and had in your sleep, right? Spirit wants you to remember that because they're really excited that you're coming into this realm with them and that you can acknowledge them and you can connect, right? So the way I look at it this is, if Spirit's going to wake me up every morning at 2:22 in the morning, okay, please answer. You're happy to pause it if she rings me again, but then I lose Insta, so I'll just have to work through that. So if Spirit keeps waking me up at 2:22 in the morning, I don't want that. No way. I find it hard enough to sleep at night, let alone be asleep and then get woken up the same time every day, every night, right? All the time. And I have to put a boundary in place with Spirit. Or she can text. Yes, you can text. So hopefully she will. I've texted her and said, I'll call you later. So hopefully she'll get that, Coralie. About the road closures in Eden. Oh, okay, but she's not going to be coming down till 8 o'clock at night. So hopefully it's all sorted by then. So, going back to that, I don't want to be woken up at 2:22 in the morning every day, every night. And there's a reason for that, is because, yes, I struggle with getting sleep. Right? Struggle. Spirit has to know that I don't like that. Right? You choose this. This is your free will. You get to decide this. Okay? And Teresa says Somala Soles started yesterday, being asked to upgrade our vibrations. Woo, okay. So, at this time, maybe you might be happy about that, to upgrade your vibration, but just maybe have a conversation with Spirit or the universe to say, do you think we could upgrade my vibration while I sleep? Okay? And say, please don't wake me up. I am a human being, and this human soul and being together need their sleep to be at high vibration, to be at their best, especially when you work with clients or you go to work, or you know you're on that level of wanting to be a healthy mindset and get your health back on track. One important thing is to say to Spirit, you know, I love working with you. I love connecting with you, and I love that you're lifting my vibration, right? I love this. But please upgrade me, or tell me, upgrade me while I sleep. Or the second part of that is if we're not going through an upgrade, or Spirit's just seeing your halo going off while you're asleep and want you to, to acknowledge that this has been happening, right? You get a tap. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Right? Oh, yes. Right. If you are not having an upgrade, they just want to wake you up, tell them to wake you up in the morning at a reasonable hour. Like they'll go, oh, okay, Spirit doesn't get comprehension of time, okay? Just say, when it's, any time from 6 to 8 in the morning when the sun is up, okay? If you're an early bird, that won't worry you, right? So then you can have your pen and paper right next to you near your bed. So when you wake up and you need to remember something, a specific dream or a situation that has happened, through that time, ask Spirit to help you and guide you. Thanks, Ramona. To guide you through that situation, okay? To guide you when you're writing. Help you to remember what it is that you're meant to remember. Because the last thing you want to do, who here's been on holiday and their boss keeps ringing them 24/7? Their boss is ringing them. You're in Bali, you're sitting by the pool, having a vodka or having a bintan, right? The boss is ringing you. Who likes that? No. So it's the same thing. You're putting a boundary in when you work with Spirit. And it's really important to work with Spirit, when you are working with Spirit, I should say, to put that in place. Because they love that you have come over to the light side, right? That you are working with them, that you can see them, that you can feel them, that you know they're there. It's really, really exciting. And absolutely it is. But I will tell you that once you start allowing that to continue, Spirit's going to get really excited. They're not doing anything wrong. No, they're just really, really excited that you're with them. So it's good advice to think about that too, is what boundary can you put in place? And it's just putting it out to the universe. And see, with me, people say to me, oh, you're different. You can actually have a normal life. Yes, I have a normal life, because because right from the word go, when I was working in all of this stuff, when I started connecting, I subconsciously sent that vibration out to universe. Hey, I don't want to be a walking, talking psychic, right? I don't want to walk it. I don't want to live it. I don't want to be it. Yes, it's my livelihood, and yes, I want it to be that. I want to be, well known, but I don't want to be well known in the specifics of that person stops me on the street and has a go at me. And sometimes that happens because they've seen my car and my magnets on my car. Or I don't want to be at the supermarket and someone come up and go, you're that psychic lady, right? You're that psychic lady. And I don't get any of that, okay? And I don't walk up to people and offer them readings in the middle of the street when I don't know them. That's my boundary in both sides. Now you're probably thinking, well, how does that happen? How come people don't just randomly come up and talk to you about it? It's because I put that boundary in place when I wholly started working, all right? Not only has that put a boundary, because I told Spirit, hey, this stuff only comes on when I'm working, and I ask for it. Because you could be having a nice little time on the toilet, or you could be having a nice little shower and you start getting attacked. Or you go for a walk, and I'm not talking negatively attacked, I'm talking to Spirit in your ear all the time, okay? So people go, oh, I really like that, I really like it, it's really exciting. Yeah, but there has to be a switch off. There needs to be a switch where you can turn off and have that boundary in place with Spirit. Turn it on when you're working and turn it off when you're not. And that's my simple fact here, is just I have implemented that into my life, because not only has that stopped people approaching me on the side of the road or at the supermarket, some randos, I've never ever had that, and I can go out and have a normal life without being observed and judged at the restaurant when I have dinner, right? Those sorts of things are because I have put that boundary out to Spirit. And, you know, some people say to me, oh, wow, is that really possible? Well, it's worked for me. So why wouldn't it work for you? You know, if you believe and you have that intention. So also that has stopped people expecting a lot of things for free. Okay? Because when I'm not the walking, talking psychic, people don't look at that in my life as that's who I am and that's what I do, and I will just give. Yes, I give and I want to give, but there needs to be an exchange, and I put that boundary in place with Spirit as well, on the fact that when I think about it in that perspective, I put that boundary in place with Spirit because I want to be able to have a normal life. I don't want all of my friends, like I don't mind reading from my friends and doing that sort of stuff. When I was first starting out, that's what I did. But I don't get my friends taking advantage of that either. And they never have. There's always been some exchange in that, whether it's, you know, a little prezi or a hug or, you know, thank you and a gratitude. There's always been something there, and that's because I put that boundary in place with Spirit. Hi Robbie, how are you, sweetheart? I was trying to read what your name was there. So, and that's because I have put that boundary in place. You know, I don't think it, breathe it, do it. So that's not going to always be around me, and very, very, very rarely do I get taken advantage of in that perspective. My friends don't, because they all respect me for what I do and how I do it, but I've also put that boundary in place with Spirit. So it's interesting where you think about personal life, but you can also think about boundaries when working with Spirit. So when you think about it, there's lots of different ways that we can put boundaries in place. And another thing that I do is I actually put in physical boundaries. Okay, so those that work with Spirit or connect to the universe on a daily basis, is one thing that can happen to you is you can actually lose your energy and your vibration because you are so wanting to help and support and be there. Sometimes we forget about our physical, as in, you know, the force fields that we need to be putting up. So that's also another boundary that we need to put in place. But that's more on that protection boundary. Because, you know, not only when you give stuff and nothing gets returned, you get burnout. You haven't put that boundary in place. But also, people want what they want from you. Okay, so a lot of people go to what they possibly, every angle to get what they want. So it's a matter of protecting your energy too, when you think about it. When we protect our energy, we keep that, you put that boundary in place, but it's a physical boundary, and I always have to ask for my boundaries to put up. Whether I work with Archangel Michael, which I do on a daily basis, I have to put a physical boundary in place, as in wear his cloak of protection or go into a force field, whatever works. Everyone has it, but I have to do that with intention and belief, because if I didn't believe, it just wouldn't work, right? You could actually put Archangel Michael in that space between you and your client energetically. So, you know, that is a physical boundary when working with Spirit, because if you don't do that, you're giving your energy, then there's an exchange of energy. The next minute you'll end up sick. Okay, so and I used to work, and that's how I know Robbie here. Robbie, I haven't seen you for ages. When I used to work at Blue Buddha, I remember Annie, when I was really, really sick for ages there. I was getting conjunctivitis, I was getting colds, I even got cold sores. And I'd really only just started doing readings like on a daily basis. To me, I never thought of this before. And it was Annie who said to me, Annie Labrie, she said, are you putting in some boundaries or protection? And I was like, no. So to me, it was like, oh, okay, so she gave me a bit of a tool on how to do this, and instantly my energy changed. My vibration lifted, I started to get better, and I made this part of my daily ritual. Because even if you work with people on a daily basis and you're not physically working in the spiritual realm, you're still working with energies, and there's always that exchange of energy. So having a boundary and setting that, but you must do that and have that intention every day, because you can't just go, oh, universe, I would like a boundary of protection every day, every day, every day, every day. You've got to do it physically every day, because it's not set in stone that it will always work, right? So you need to do that intentionally every single day. So thinking about that in that perspective, I think it's just learning that, putting that protection boundary up, that's up, working with spirit, and focusing on the intention of why you're doing what you're doing and putting it out there. And that's why I think it's really important. And another boundary that you can put in place if you do work with spirit, right, is if something doesn't feel right for you. If you're a Reiki healer or you're a reader or counselor, life coach, whatever you are, is if something doesn't feel right for you, you need to say no. And it's having that boundary with that person to say, oh, look, I'm sorry. This is not working for me today. Whether your energetically vibration is low, or you're blocked, or that person is blocked and you're not feeling it. Don't fake it till you make it and pretend that it's all happening for you. I always say to people, if you're going to help someone and you're making it up, then spirit won't want to work with you on that level, and it's only going to be constantly not reciprocated with them, and eventually that won't happen and things won't work out for you. That's how I look at it. And the way I see it is, if you're faking it, or you be honest and say today's just going to be a counseling session because intuitively nothing's coming through, or spiritually, and you've got a choice. We can reschedule, or we can sit here and have a counseling session, because it's being honest with that boundary. And if you don't be aware of that boundary, right, and that it's not feeling right for you, and choose to make a decision that is intentionally true, as in, okay, it's not working for me, do you want to reschedule, or do you want to have a counseling session or a coaching session? Because you're still helping that person. And I know money is tough, so you don't want to lose that connection to getting that exchange. But spirit eventually, I believe, if you're not doing it authentically, won't want to work with you. So then that's not really a genuine system to be sitting with. And eventually you will burn out. And eventually things will rise, like, keep coming up for you until you see that pattern and change it. And that's using those in boundary. Hey Courtney, how you going, honey? That's putting those boundaries in place to acknowledge right from the word go that this isn't right for me. So there's another thing when you work with spirit, putting in those boundaries. Hey Court, if you want to share with me, you work with spirit, Courtney, and you know all this kind of stuff, and you're going through a lot, because I saw your video the other day. And when you're working with spirit, it's really important to understand that some of these things that are evolving and coming up, especially when you're awakening, right, or you're having another level of an upgrade, right, putting these boundaries are really important, because they're going to be constantly showing up in your life. And that's why I say that, yes, Therese, boundaries and intentions go hand in hand. And that's why I say, when you work with spirit, you must have some kind of boundary and intervention, in place, so that things run smoothly. I don't want to be known as the walking, talking psychic, because it just deflects negatively on me. Courtney says, yes, I'm going through a lot of spiritual journey. It's amazing. It is amazing when you're upgrading. You know, I love that. Teresa's given me a thumbs up. Intentions, yeah. So having that intention, and we talk intentions as goals, or you talk about intentions as coming through with a good intent. So having loyal intent, trust intent, belief intent, good intent, doing it for the right reasons, all of those intentions that you're putting in place to work with spirit. And, you know, 100% says Courtney, yes. So, you know, I think when it comes to those boundaries in our personal life, when we lap them over with spirit, it's also very important to bring this in. Bring this in to your spiritual life and your spiritual work, okay? And this is why I think, you know, this is part of that nurturing thing, is to, you know, be aware that boundaries are really important and what the consequences could be of that if you burn out. I met someone the other day that had been in burnout for 5 years because the boundaries weren't put in place, the vibration wasn't lifted, and that burnout just kept happening over and over and over and over again because unfortunately through that process they weren't aware that they were going through it, so they just kept going. So, you know, who here struggles with knowing when they're actually feeling exhaustion? Courtney says, if I ever feel negative energy, I ask to move it on as it's not welcome. Yeah. I ask my guides to help and I'm at ease. Beautiful. I love the journey. And that's exactly right. And, you know, it's being aware. Like, Courtney, if you didn't do that, that is a boundary for you to work with spirit, right? And when you ask for that negative energy, you don't accept that into your life. You let it go and you move that on. And that's why when I work with spirit as well, when you think about it, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Aha, sorry, I just went into it. I actually left the building. How's that? I actually left. I had a physical, maybe an upgrade where I just left my body. Anyway, weird. I don't actually bring any negativity or ask for it. I don't attract it. I don't want it. And it doesn't come into my working life. Okay? Sometimes in my personal life, we all have a bit of drama and a little bit of negative stuff. But like Courtney does, she deflects that, you know. But when I'm working with spirit, it must be of good intent. Upgrade Central here. Yeah, I just had a really big, strong upgrade. That was, whoa, like that just shifted something big. Were you feeling that when I just went ding, ding? Yeah, I'm weird, okay? That's what happens when you have, you work with spirit. Things can happen. So, yeah, it's interesting that we all go into that state of negativity. And yeah, I love that when I work spirit, it's like, you're not telling me, this is the boundary I put in place. You're not telling me that lifespan of that person. You're not telling me any disease that comes up for that person and those people in their lives, any health issues, right? You're not telling me that. If that person asks me that, I will choose whether or not I answer that question. Because I don't want to put a time frame on somebody's life or that person's life that they're asking about, right? Because we can create that thought by just talking about it. It's pretty scary. Courtney says, I do it with my kids too. I don't accept them talking to them and causing chaos. Who's them? If you need to speak to anyone, come to me. I'm here to help. That's what you say to your kids? Great. My heart skipped a beat when you left. Oh, you felt it. It was just like, poof. Yeah, and it is, you don't, and that's important, and that's that boundary that's really important, because if you don't put them in place, chaos is going to come through. You know, we're going to create it. And the chaos could just be that simple burnout in in what you're doing in your everyday life. Now, don't get me wrong. Working with spirit, okay, yes, it is a great world that I'm in, okay? But if I don't have those boundaries in place, I will burn out, right? I will burn out. So, yes, and I have done numerous times, and that's why I say I don't recognize it when it's right there in front of me. And it's important to actually do the self-care and all of that nurturing, journaling particularly, because it helps me work out myself. It helps me also dissociate and have a look. So, you know, when you think about it, you know, it's really important to put it in place. And I love what I do, don't get me wrong. But simple fact is, I cannot and will not listen to the body when it's going through a hard time. Because I'm not going to be any good to my clients. I'm not going to be any good to my family and my friends, because my friends are going to need me. My family needs me. You know, I want to be there for them. And it's really important to make sure that I'm fully aware that boundaries being put in place. And when that boundary is getting pushed down and walked over, then I need to also action that. And how am I going to build myself up stronger to actually move through that? And yeah, you do get exhaustion point when you work with spirit. It's really important. I don't very often work late hours because my body needs to shut off, and the older I have got, the harder it is to shut your body off. And you know, you can open up that door to spirit and they want to keep talking to you all the time. And I'll go, sorry, it's night time now, brain's going to be switched off. You can actually do that too with physically doing a switch. When you go to bed or when you're at home, is to physically turn your brain off, psychic mode or spirit mode, or turn it back on when you go to work. And it's really important that you have some kind of intervention in place to move through that. All right, so does anyone have any questions for me in regards to, you know, working with spirit or putting in boundaries? A lot of you here already work with spirit and you just enjoy coming and having a chat with me. And, you know, I just think that when we work with spirit, it's important to know that, yes, because you've got boundaries in your personal life, you still need to put them into that connection with spirit. And, you know, remembering your intention. If you work with spirit and nothing comes, tell them, be honest. You know, and you say to spirit, okay, if there's nothing there or there's a blockage, we're not going to work today. Or listening to your body when it feels exhausted. I've had clients where I felt something had triggered and I was exhausted. It must have been a busy day the day before and my brain wouldn't kick in. Spirit wouldn't work with me. So spirit was putting in a blockage and a boundary in that moment for me to actually take the day off and rest. Because health is so important, and be aware of your health and how it feels when it's not right. You know, is listening to that and moving through that so that that doesn't deteriorate. Okay. What else can I say? So who here struggles? That's a big question to put in the boundaries. Every day. It doesn't have to be working with spirit. Could be in everyday life. Anyone struggle? Well, good health is gold. Absolutely it is. Courtney says, I need a New Year reading from my queen here. I love you, sweetheart. You're gorgeous. Thank you. I'd love to see you. And I'm doing the, if you want a quick one, you know, question answered or a couple of questions, I'm doing them at least once a week at the moment, the $45 20-minute readings in Bustleton face-to-face. So if you are local, come down and see me. So one thing we can do is journal about our feelings, journal about these boundaries and how them, you know, like if they're being lowered, or what you need to put in place. Write about it, because it can actually help you see the big picture. And Ramona said, good advice getting into some sleep. I never thought that the spiritual influences I get to. Absolutely. Courtney says, when is the next time that I'm doing the special? I'm hoping next week, but because it's such a short week for me, I've only got work on Boxing Day maybe, and Wednesday. So I have to think about it. Otherwise, it'll be in the new year, the first week. So journaling can really help you guys work through those boundaries, and even writing them down and saying them while you're writing them down can actually help set them in stone. Okay, it can be really good for you to just acknowledge that you're worth it and you deserve to have those boundaries in place. If something doesn't feel right, see you, Teresa. Love you, darling. Take care. Have a good Chrissy. So something doesn't feel right, then you need to ask yourself, is this working for me, or is that not working for me? If it's not working for you, do you need to put a boundary in place, or do you just need to say, no, this is not working for me? You can be honest, because we're always worried about the conflict and the contradiction that it may cause us. But if it feels right to say no and to put that boundary in place, then you absolutely have that right to do that. So trust in your intuition and why. Okay? And it could be the opposite as well. It could also be that, do you not like saying no? When someone says to you, no, that doesn't work for me, because they put their boundary in place and you're going, I can't handle it, I don't want this. Do you struggle with someone saying no to you? So think about that for a moment as well. Okay? If you are struggling with that concept of that person's boundary, then you need to say to yourself, all right, and journal about it, or sit there and take some time and think about that emotion around why you don't like people saying no to you. Is there something that is blocking that? Is there an inner child issue? Is your inner child having a tanty about it? Okay? So think about that and work through that. And if it's your inner child, you can hold space and ask your child, well, what do you need then? Ask your little child, your inner you, what do you need then? What can I do to help you to feel better? Listen to that. Feel into that space with her and say to her, I've got you. But we're going to put a boundary in place for us now, you know, and work with that so that it helps them heal, because that's what you needed back then. Give your child what you needed. Courtney says, yes, that's my new techniques, writing down. When doing readings, I always remember, and best advice comes out of it. Boundaries are important. Absolutely, they are. All right, so remember that when you are putting in boundaries, that you communicate it clearly. Okay? Clearly, crystal clear. Don't confuse it. The universe gets confused. Spirit gets confused. All right? Ask Archangel Gabriel to come forward and talk to you and help you communicate that clearly, because she or he is the archangel of communications, God's messenger. So if you've got that archangel with you to help you stand strong and communicate clearly, you just say, Archangel Gabriel, could you come forward and help me communicate clearly what my boundaries are here? Okay? And if you want to do it with compassion and love, then ask her or him to help you with that. Okay? So really trust in that. Don't let them say no. Tell them I tell them I will tell you how it is. If it doesn't resonate now, it will later. You don't have to accept anything, says Courtney. I can tell you, just listen to it. You are amazing. Oh, thank you. And it is important to understand that. Michael is your man too, all the way, Courtney? Absolutely. And he is brilliant. He is great to put in those boundaries as well as Gabriel, communicating with Gabriel to communicate it clearly. Because the message needs to be set in stone, what it is clearly, because the universe is going to get confused. It's like when you get woken up. If you don't say, oh, I'd like that upgrade when I'm sleeping, but I want to stay asleep and wake me up in the morning at a reasonable hour, and then we'll talk about it then, or communicate it then. All right? So it's remembering to be sure that you communicate this clearly. So, all right. So, let us think about some cards, and what cards could I use today, everybody? What could I share with you? I was just thinking, Spirit's going, okay, we need to finish up because I've just looked at the time and it's been an hour and 15 minutes, so probably should go. I could talk to you all day. So Courtney says, I do by my 7-year-old, doesn't listen. After all, I named him after the angel. Stubborn, right? Yeah, that's the thing, and that's, you know, we've got to keep practicing, and we lead by example, Court. So, you know, when you do that and put those boundaries in place, they'll eventually grow to be adults with those boundaries. But because they needed to put it in place for their own confidence and realizing that they are enough and good enough to have that. You can message me as soon as I've finished, hun. Absolutely. You can message me shortly. All right, now, I'm just thinking, right, Spirit. Oh, okay. Spirit's just told me which deck I need, so I hope they all don't come crashing down, which I thought they might. All right, this is the deck that Spirit has told me. Messages, magical messages from the fairies. Okay, we need some guidance from the fairies today. And I was just actually thinking before that I might do a session on angels in the new year to be able to give you some insight on who they are, how to work with them, the main ones particularly, because there's a lot. And those that work with angels like I do, you're welcome, Courtney. Education is always free on a Friday or a Thursday if I can get on. Next week I won't be here, unfortunately. But after the new year, definitely. It's my birthday on the 4th, so I don't know whether I'm going to have time then. Alright, so let's tuning into some messages there. Let's focus on what you need to hear. I'm going to pull out a couple of cards. Oh, okay, one just flew out then. Okay. I don't know what this is about, but it could be because we're coming into 2024. Is dietary change. So are you thinking about a health change? It may mean that you're wanting to add exercise to your... Courtney says, oh my God, I asked for the angels and in the new year. Yes, communication is amazing. So a lot of us, when I look at this card and I think, dietary change, are you thinking about setting in stone and putting some boundaries and intentions and goals in there for exercise or healthy eating or going on to shakes in the morning or a detox of sort? Because Spirit is saying you have absolutely huge permission, our permission. If you're wanting to do it, why wait tomorrow? Why wait till 2024 to do this? Why are you not starting today? Okay? I think it's really important to listen to that spiritual guidance, because Spirit is really trying to, I guess, lift our vibration. And when we eat healthy, we feel good, our mindset's clear, our health is fantastic, and we want to keep thriving and having that massive amounts of growth. And I think Spirit is saying if the intentions of 2024 isn't about dietary or health changes, please implement that, because now is the time. Okay? You might be thinking, oh, am I gluten intolerant? Well, your body will tell you. Okay? Your body will tell you. My doctor says I'm not. But I tell you what, if I have the wrong types of food that are heavy in gluten, pasta, particularly certain breads, blown out, and I feel really tired and lethargic afterwards. You know, so it's being aware of that and being mindful. And I tell you, when I don't have that amount of gluten, I feel so much better. And especially dairy, you know, like full dairy just does not agree with me, so it's cutting that out, you know, not getting that heaviness and that tired feeling. So if a lot of you can relate to this, what I'm guided to say to you is, you know, change those things. If you feel you're ready and you can accept them and the intention is there and you're ready, set, go, do it and believe in it, because you are so worthy of this change. Courtney says, wow, mind blown. My goals are losing more weight and looking after myself better. Excellent. Amazing. So really nurture the self coming into this and reward yourself. Like, if the one thing too, when we're going through these dietary changes and these health changes to lose weight or feel healthier or just feel better, is having the supports and rewarding yourself. So whether you've got supports to do that, like I have my friend Tina who I walk with when I need that, you know, like it's that connection and that support to go, because I need that. Sometimes I just won't go. So it's having those supports, but also rewarding yourself in the meantime, like, you know, nurturing the self, having the bath because you've done really well, or going and having that massage or that healing or that reading, treating yourself to that reward because you're doing really well. Because, you know, when you're working really well in a job and you work your way up, you get recognized, right? So why can't you recognize yourself for doing really well and sticking to, you know, that new diet or that health regime or that new program, that exercise program, whatever it is? Reward yourself for sticking to it. You know, whether it's a star chart, be proud of that. And you're so worthy of change. And this is what Spirit is saying to me, is put those goals into place, because now is the time. And the message on the card is this: improve your diet and your life will also improve. And that's what's really, really important, is that if you improve that, your mindset's only going to improve, isn't it? Health is only going to improve. You're going to feel better and you're going to start moving forward, which is a really nice thing to start having. All right, so second card, put it out there, tuning in, focusing on letting go, what it is that we want to know. Okay, I'm not going to plant any seeds for any questions, because I think you all just sit there and think about what it is. What do you need to know? Okay, this card's jumping out at me. You love my energy? I love it today too. Assertiveness. Woohoo! Okay, stand firm on your boundaries for 2024. Okay, be assertive, be strong, be aware that you can have what you want, be assertive about it, be loving and compassionate, but stand your ground is the one thing that's really standing out for me. If you need to make these changes and it feels right, then listen to that intuition, okay? Trust, have faith, and move forward, because you can create that in the law of attraction. If you put yourself in the right frequency, in the right vibration, the right mindset, the assertiveness can be there. So I'm getting that we're getting a lot of raising the bar, raising the vibration, letting go of the high expectations, are the ones that are tough on us, have expectations that are positive and good for us, and putting those boundaries in place, but standing your ground and being firm. If it's no that you're not agreeing, then be honest. If it is like a no that is stirring you up and going, oh, I don't like that you're saying no to me, think about it. Think about why. Why is that reacting with you? So be assertive about it and trust. Maybe this is a work situation that you need to be assertive with and stand up for yourself. Okay? Have the confidence and believe in yourself. Don't you love how these things resonate with the theme, but also the card comes through to help give confirmation. Now, the message on the card is this: stand up for your beliefs and say only yes if you really want to. Convenient, Matt, right? And I hadn't even read the card. So Spirit is saying you've got this. Hello, unicorn. And you have this. You need to trust. You need to allow yourself to have that growth, and that growth is believing you have the potential and the confidence in yourself to be assertive, to move yourself forward, to stand up for what you firmly believe in, and have focus. So I think that's really what this card is all about, is confirmation that choosing boundaries is our topic today. was really, whoa, massive pressure in both ears. It's like, Spirit, is he hearing me? So this is the thing, is the boundaries are really important. And to move into 2024, I think Spirit is saying, put your boundaries in place. Be assertive, be loving, be reassuring that you've made the right decision, but also do it with love. If something is not sitting with you, then please be honest and share. Please say to that person, this is not working for me. And why? Okay? Just, if it's letting go of a friendship, okay? Cut the cords, but let them go with love and allow that. Courtney says, light just hurt. Nugget just heard. About time you are listening. Haha, yes. And that is too, and I want you to be mindful this Christmas. The next couple of days are winding. There's a lot of stress and a lot of worries about, a lot on your plate. Winding down from work and winding down with the kids and having people come over to the house, or you getting organised to get the kids in the car to go away, or yourself going away because you're expected to be somewhere by Christmas Day, right? Be aware, okay, of that. Bring yourself down into a level where you can actually journal about it or refresh yourself about it, talk to a friend about it. I'm feeling overwhelmed, okay? Be mindful of that. Don't burn out. Don't get to the exhaustion part where you can't come back up for a long time. So be aware, be mindful, put your boundary in now, or even if that boundary is to say, when I feel myself feeling like a pressure cooker, I'm going to stop for a moment, give myself 5 minutes, go outside, ground myself, or just go and breathe, have a cuppa, slow down and collect those thoughts and bring yourself into alignment, okay? Because you've got this. It's regulating those emotions and bringing them into an alignment, okay? I think it's really important. Courtney says, dreams. Oh, beautiful. Ramona says, thanks so much, Ness. Have a wonderful Christmas, everyone. You have a wonderful Christmas too, Ramona. Take care of yourself. Love and light to you, my sweet. Be good and be safe. All right? Love and light to you all. So that's me done. It was wonderful for those that came and joined me today. I had a really good time, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year. When I'm back, Nurture Matter won't be next week, possibly the week after. We'll see how my week goes. But my Christmas week. But I will see you for a quick kind of cards of the week, maybe on Sunday on Christmas Eve, because I won't be doing it on Christmas Day. Because my priority is my family, and that's part of my self-care. I think it's really important to have that time and that focus. All right, love and light to you. Courtney, you're welcome, my sweet. And Glenda, big kisses and hugs to you. Have a fantastic Christmas, everyone. I wish you well. Please be safe. Merry Christmas, Glenda. Please be safe over this silly season. I'll be sending you all love and light and safe thoughts, thinking of my intention to send out there for you to all be safe and take care. All right? So love and light, and I'll see you and speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.